Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So really exciting historic day for Ethereum. We have Vivek Raman from Etherealize. It's kind of like the institutional marketing arm for Ethereum, testifying to Congress. So let's go ahead and hear what he has to say.
BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, Fidelity, Deutsche Bank, UBS, and many more are already building on Ethereum because it is the most secure and most decentralized settlement layer in the world. As a result, $140 billion of stablecoins, $10 billion of real useful tokenized assets, and institutional-grade financial applications live on Ethereum.
You know, I couldn't have said it better myself, and it's really refreshing to have someone like Vivek going out there and talking to these congressmen, these people making the laws, and trying to set the record straight, because it seems like to me there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of lack of maybe care, or maybe it's just dishonesty. People just purposely, willfully being ignorant about the space of, Ethereum, blockchain, and smart contracts. And I think a perfect example of that would be Brad Sherman. So let's go ahead and take a look here and see what he had to say about the situation.
To call on the gentleman from California, Mr. Sherman, the ranking member of our Capital Markets Subcommittee, for 5 minutes.
There's no limit to how extreme nonsense.
You know this is going to be good whenever you refer to crypto as a whole as extreme nonsense. Let's get something clear here. Ethereum crypto, this blockchain technology, Ethereum, the biggest one, most widely adopted cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin. It is a technology upgrade of the internet, period. There is no nonsense here. That's like somebody saying that, you could wind the clock back before computers. People are sitting there on a typewriter and they're laughing at blockchain technology saying, computer's never going to replace a typewriter. So have you even studied what smart contracts are? It's like, anyway, we'll go ahead and continue here.
Can gain credibility in Washington if you put billions of dollars behind lobbying, billions behind public relations, and hundreds of millions behind campaign contributions. Once again, we see an illustration of this where Mr. Raman tells us that crypto's the answer to payroll. Because payroll, you need payroll services. I'm an old CPA. You need payroll services because you have to calculate the deductions for Social Security and income tax. Nobody on the internet's going to do that for free.
Wrong. So you can program smart contracts. So basically what he's talking about is wherever you get a paycheck, your money comes in, and let's say you're making $1,000 a week. Well, the payroll, what they're going to do is they're going to pull out a certain amount for Medicaid, Social Security, child support. All that is dividing up the money in a smart contract. Instead of all your stable coins going to you, okay, this amount goes to the Social Security fund, this amount goes to child support, this amount goes to federal taxes, this amount goes to, city tax if you're in New York. So what he's saying is just completely false. And what I have an issue with is where you have people like Mr. Sherman that either are purposefully being ignorant and dishonest to attack this new technology as it's trying to be adopted, or they just haven't looked into it at all, which is even worse because now they're just spouting knee-jerk reactions to something that someone said. So it's not professional, in my opinion. What these hearings should be about is trying to understand the technology, understand the Clarity Act, the regulations. Instead, there's a whole lot of political theater going on, and that's what majority of this entire hearing was about, just political theater. So we'll go ahead and continue here for a second.
And the current payment system is just fine if you're...
Yeah, it's fine. You get a check for over $10,000, for example, and they'll put it on hold for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's completely fine.
If you don't have those deductions. But of course, many of those behind crypto want to destroy the Social Security system by making it impossible to collect the tax on it.
That's not true at all. I mean, he's just making stuff up here, and this is why I think that he's dishonest. Like, nobody is trying to adopt stable coins so that people can get paid in stable coins so that you can avoid taxes. Like, that's not a thing. He's just making stuff up.
The other bit of, I guess, nonsense, Ms. Minerick
He's got to check his notes here to see what he's been prompted to say.
Tells us that there's nothing ideological about this. Wrong. Crypto is the embodiment of the most pernicious ideology I'm aware of. I call it patriotic anarchism. It says that America should be powerful, and the U.S. government.
Okay, so no. Ethereum is a globally decentralized network like the internet. Anybody can tap into it. Anybody can build on it. What he's referring to is he's anti-America adopting cryptocurrency, but that doesn't mean the rest of the world can just not adopt the technology as well. It's basically, like Ethereum is basically the internet being rebuilt and upgraded. It's completely credibly neutral. That is the foundational purpose of the Ethereum base layer. Anybody can use it. Anybody can build on it. It's not an American thing. It's not a Chinese thing. It's not any specific country. It's anybody in the world can use it and build on it, and it's trustless.
Federal government should be destroyed. And the way to do that is to make it impossible to enforce our sanctions laws, our bankruptcy laws, and our tax.
Anyway, so we'll go ahead and move on from Mr. Sherman. We've given him enough attention. So I had tweeted out at Joe Rogan, let's get Vivek Ventures on the show to talk about Ethereum. I think this would be a really interesting show because Joe Rogan, he's had podcasts where, he's talked, like, I believe back in the day, he would have Andreas Antonopoulos, a Bitcoin promoter back in the day. He would talk about it quite a bit, but I don't believe he's ever had someone on to talk about Ethereum. It would be really interesting to get Vivek and maybe Danny Ryan on there as well. And it's really fascinating because we're moving into an area where you have, AI agents. They can talk about how AI agents will be paying each other on the Ethereum blockchain. You can talk about the decentralized finance aspect of it. You can talk about decentralized gaming, how you can essentially build an entire gaming ecosystem where you have NPCs in the game where you're earning fractions of a stablecoin, and you can maybe actually earn a living by playing games professionally on a decentralized gaming platform. So it would be a really, really interesting podcast if Joe were to do that. If you want to help support that, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. If you just go down there, just look at it, give it a like, maybe share it on X. We're trying to get this, right now we're almost at 100,000 views, really trying to get it up over 100,000, get as much attention to that as possible. And then maybe Vivek and Joe can work something out. So real quick here, let's take a look at the chart. So, from the lows, we've just spiked up and we're continuing to consolidate within this in this area that I've talked about from 2,700, 2,400, we'll call it. So, at some point I'm expecting us to break higher. Not a whole lot's changed. We're just kind of consolidating, just ping-ponging between the support and resistance area. Moving on, so Bitcoin Magazine reports just in, JP Morgan is planning to offer client loans backed by Bitcoin and crypto ETFs, according to Bloomberg. So, I've talked about this a little bit on the show before, how I think that tokenization of assets, it presents an opportunity down the road where a lot of your assets become smart. You can take your stocks, you can very easily post them in a smart contract for some sort of a decentralized mortgage to help you buy down interest rates. There's all sorts of opportunity that opens up whenever you can use stocks, you can use crypto, for example, as collateral on loans. And they do this to a certain degree now with stocks. For example, like billionaires, they can borrow money against their stock holdings and avoid paying taxes. But this would create a lot more efficiencies within that system. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to go to Vivek's opening statements. And this is it's about 5 minutes long here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. But in the meantime, if y'all have any comments, questions, leave me in the comment section down below. But let's go ahead and dive in here and hear what he has to say.
Chairman Hill, Ranking Member Waters, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Vivek Raman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Etherealize. We founded Etherealize to transform U.S. capital markets for the 21st century. Our team is a powerhouse of Wall Street veterans combined with the best technologists across the Ethereum ecosystem. We are ready to push forward new financial innovation in the U.S. Previously, I traded credit on Wall Street at Morgan Stanley, UBS, Deutsche Bank, and Nomura. During my time there, I saw two things. One, that the U.S. is the undisputed leader in the global financial system. Two, much of this system still operates like it's in the Stone Age. Today, It can take days to send money and weeks to finalize trades. Hundreds of billions of dollars of value still flow through paper, faxes, and manual spreadsheets. Now, at last, the technology solution for a one-time upgrade to the U.S. capital markets is sitting right in front of us. Public blockchains allow for programmable
I just want to jump in here. Again, that is the foundation of what's happening. This is a technology upgrade to the internet. You know, we go back to where banking and finance used to be. It was all paper. It was all come into the bank, you know, can I get a loan type of thing. And now we've moved on to the internet. And so from the internet, this is another upgrade of that financial infrastructure from there. So just keep that in mind whenever you're thinking about Ethereum, blockchain. It's just that all it is, if you want to think about it, it's just a technology upgrade. It's global infrastructure.
Dollars that settle in seconds, for global ledgers that allow real-time regulatory oversight, and for global access that extends opportunity far beyond Wall Street. So what's the problem? Over the last several years, blockchain innovation in the US was unfairly penalized. That greatly undersold the potential of blockchains and pushed innovation offshore. The Clarity Act can change that trajectory. It gives much needed regulatory certainty, including defining investment contract assets and clarifying SEC and CFTC jurisdiction. It provides America a launch pad for the next generation of financial infrastructure and ensures that the payoff stays here with U.S. jobs, U.S. tax revenue, and U.S. technological leadership. The private sector already sees this. BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, Fidelity, Deutsche Bank, UBS, and many more are already building on Ethereum because it is the most secure and most decentralized settlement layer in the world. As a result, $140 billion of stablecoins, $10 billion real useful tokenized assets, and institutional-grade financial applications live on Ethereum. All of this happened despite regulatory uncertainty. With the Clarity Act, we can 100x that innovation. The Clarity Act provides an excellent framework for responsible digital asset innovation in America, and it does so while preserving the core value of blockchains, decentralization. What does decentralization really mean? It means a network, just like the internet, that is owned by none and is accessible by all. For Ethereum, it means over 1 million validators all around the world independently verifying transactions and ensuring trust without a single point of failure. What does decentralization mean in institutional terms? It means resilience, maximum security, and minimized counterparty risk. We applaud the Clarity Act for valuing decentralization and its control and maturity tests. The Clarity Act also amplifies America's position as the home for innovation. Previous years of regulatory uncertainty and hostility have not been great for America's position in the digital asset space. In 2017, 42% of core blockchain developers were US-based. By 2025, we're barely at 19%. We need to reverse this brain drain and bring high-value engineering jobs back to the US. We need to keep dollar-denominated stablecoins rather than digital euros or digital yuan at the center of global commerce. Clarity Act benefits more than just financial institutions. It also allows for value to flow directly to consumers rather than just to intermediaries. Let's take a concrete example. Payroll. Right now, payroll is inefficient. Employees are paid biweekly or monthly. Companies have to wire funds to a payroll provider, and there are multiple intermediaries. Settlement can take multiple days. This changes with blockchains. Ethereum enables real-time automated payments that traditional systems cannot match.
Again, so going back to what Brad Sherman was saying, exactly. You're talking instantaneous payment. If your employer wants to pay you, it would be like sending a cash app. I mean, it would just be instantaneous and done. And blockchain drastically improves efficiencies within our payment system.
Freelancers and gig workers can now get paid by the second as they work. No delays, no middlemen. This gives people immediate access to their earnings, which is powerful for those living paycheck to paycheck. Multiply this effect across millions of US businesses, and the impact is enormous, and that's the power of decentralized programmable finance. In closing, I'd like to emphasize that I could not have started Etherealize until this year, because I was waiting for regulatory clarity to build here in the US. My parents came to America because it's the land of opportunity, and I want to build in America. We are going to change history by embracing the next phase of the internet, and it's really important to get this right. The Clarity Act recognizes at this moment in time. Thank you for your time and for your commitment to thoughtful, forward-looking policy. I look forward to your questions.
Awesome. Well said. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up today's video. So I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.